Hi there, good morning. Welcome to Sunnyside Journals. Welcome to 30 minutes of my day. I'm going to do a bit of work on my bookhouse from the tower window. In my head, I've been calling her Rapunzel lately because the tower window, I think of Rapunzel. Who knows whether that will stick. You know me and names in my head when I start talking to these books. I've got my camera up really high because the papers I'm going to need to use are going to be quite big in order to make a full folio. It's not going to be all full folios. For one thing, I don't like the looks of that. I like variety. Now I was going to grab something. I'm going to pause and try and remember what I was going to grab. Okay, I am going to start our timer. And I'm going to just grab a folio from out of the text block so that it can become my template so that I can measure other pages. Now, we picked these out. I want to be able to use the front page, which is quite pretty. And there's the print date there. We'll see. We'll see about these. Yeah. All right, I'm going to put these aside. This was going to go... What book was I going to put this in? I had taken it out. It was going to go into a book, and then it got pulled, as will happen when it starts getting too close to being alligatory. But I think that's a good size. I will have to trim it a bit, which I don't like having to do. But I think I can safely trim it a bit, and it's pretty. This is from a book I have on butterflies and moths of England. So I do like that. So that will go in. I definitely want to put in some Edith Holden because this is a nice size. I think I'll be able to put in a couple of full spreads of Edith without even having to trim it down. So I need my cutting board. I'm loving this option. I'm over here at my standing table. Oh, that's my new little stencil brush. I'm over here at my standing table. My goodness. I am loving the option doing work like this, standing up, and my back doesn't scream. So I usually, to make myself a template, to measure my folios, to create my signatures, I usually will take one folio out of the text block, and then I will trim off about 1/8 of an inch off of the width. More if I'm planning on a lot of laces and ruffles. I just eyeball it. So, about 1/8 of an inch. Then I will write on it in a lot of places, template, just so that I know that it's not one of the folios that I've put aside to actually put into the book. This one I'll know is my measuring one. I like to think that it helps ensure consistency in my page size. So I don't even necessarily know how big the pages are, but I am curious. I may grab a ruler and find out. So let's see. It is 6 3/4. Well, isn't that nice? So it's by 6 3/4 inches. You might think, Catherine, what are you doing inches for? Isn't Canada metric? And yes, you're right, Canada is metric. 9 by 6 3/4. This is going to be a big book. However, Canada did not adopt the metric system until I was, I'm thinking maybe I was in, and here's a Canadian thing. I'm Canadian, so we say grade 6. But I know that many other countries say 6th grade. But in Canada, we say grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Or at least most of the Canadians I know. My friend Mary Beth, who grew up in Niagara Falls, New York, she used to giggle at me when I'd say, I'm going into grade 9 this year. What? You're going into 9th grade? All right, whatever. Potatoes, potatoes. Anyhow, so 9 by 6 3/4 or 6 3/4 by 9. You know what I mean. You know it. 9 inches. And then this is 6 3/4 inches. That helps me. All right, so what I want to do then is I want to see what I think this spine is going to be. And I can see where the old paper template was, and I think we did talk about this before. It seems to be 1 5/8 of an inch. So 1 5/8 of an inch. I'm gonna do a little calculating on the inside here. So a 1 5/8 inch spine. That's close to like 1 3/4. Especially because I don't mind putting in more smaller signatures. So if it was 1 3/4, normally most other people would probably put 7. The general rule for junk journalers is 1 signature for every 1/4 inch, how wide your spine is. I like to actually put more in, less. I know, I say it every time in case someone's new. If you're new, hi, welcome. So I think I'm going to do 9 signatures. Alrighty, so, and as ever, and it'll be Dawlish dishwater, I have these great big sheets. How big are these? They are, looks like they're 16 3/4 by 11. They're huge. And they're a real Dickens to tea dye. Because they're so big. But totally worth it. And look at all the bubbles. I love all the bubbles. Oh, this one's a good one. Look at that little bubble. It almost looks like a footprint on the sand. All right, so I usually will start, for my own sanity, I will start with one plain signature or folio for the outside of the signature, and then I start filling them up. Now let's see some of these I can do tip outs, which is nice because then less gets wasted. And then I get all that yummy dark edge. Oh, that's not a pencil. I need a pencil. Found a pencil. All right, I think I approximately want it there. That'll get trimmed. So I usually will do a little pinch so I know where I want it to go. And then I marry up one side. There we go. That's nice. And then on this side, what I do is I flip it back and just get close by. Doesn't need to be precisely at that edge. And that will give us a tip out. I don't like too many tip outs. They'll bulk up the book, but that will give us a tip out. I'll be able to use any offcuts, so maybe I'll do a couple like that. Let me just make sure that it did work out to be the right width, and I'm happy with that. So obviously I'm going to have to trim there, so at least I was able to save a little bit of that nice yummy size. So let's just do it again, shall we? I'm just going to put my pencil mark there and there. So terribly exciting. And then I flip it over and just get as close as I can without making it come out further than the page. Then you'll know that, because then you'll just have to trim it off. You can't, your fold will stick out too far and it's not nice. So I'll fix that a little later. Maybe one more. One more with that full tip out. And then the rest, I think I'll do a few that are... Oh, that's a pen. Yikes. That was close. I hope you're all doing well. We are supposed to get another snowstorm this week. Okay, that's fine for now. So how many have I done? I've done 3 full tip outs. So 4, so I still need 5 more. Yeah, we're supposed to get a bit more snow this week. And it's a busy birthday week. You'd think they'd all be busy, but some are even busier than others. We have 2 of my sons. 2 of my sons this week, my husband next week, and the following week after that, a grandson and my brother. That's what happens when you have 7 children and 18 grandchildren. So I'm going to trim that when I get them all ready. And I'll still use this offcut. I'll just put it in that way so it's an odd-shaped paper. So I need 4 more. Oh, I don't need... What am I getting you out for? Yeah, so, yeah, my baby boys are having their birthday. My one son was born on February 3rd, and I went into labor on his birthday. And I said to him at the time, he was a little guy, he was 7, and I said, oh my goodness, you might have a little brother or sister share your birthday. And that's not unusual in our family because we have twins, so they share birthday. And they also were one day away from their grandmother. And then I, all my life, shared a birthday with my father. My gran and my aunt were one day apart. One was December 30th and one was December 31st. Anyhow, at the time I said to him, "Isn't this exciting? You could have a little brother or a little sister share your birthday." And he said, "No, it's not exciting. I like having my own birthday." Uh-oh. Well, off we went to the hospital, and I thought, oh boy, he'll learn to like it, I told myself, because then I got upset. Oh no, he's not happy about having to share his birthday with his new little sibling. And I guess it might have been the pure will or the fear of me. But we got to the hospital and my contractions slowed down further apart. Before we knew it, they stopped, and the hospital said, "You know what? Go on home and get some sleep." And the next one arrived a full 3 days later. So he did not have to share his birthday with his brother. And I think the two of them were in cahoots because it ensured more birthday cake. Oh, the bubbles. I love the bubbles. All right, let's see how many I've got. I need 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more. 9. Now, I probably will still end up cutting at least one more set of plain ones, just because you know me, enjoying lots of plain papers in a junk journal so that there's room for the journaler to journal. There we go. Alrighty. So let's get these. I'm going to move my basket out of the way. And let's do some trimming. You know what? I'm going to trim the east-west pages first, because I know that if I start with the fold being my constant, that will ensure that I can get right angles, especially with these boards. These boards can be temperamental as to whether they feel like being truly square or not. And I find if I do it this way, I'll be fine. I should have marked it on the other side. Oh, I can do it on this way as long as I use one of the lines. As the constant. There we go. Then I'm going to take that off, and then that can go back in. So, see what I mean? So I'm just going to fold that like that, and it can go back in as a little off-size page. I need my tiny post-it notes. Okay, so I've got these. So 1 and the arrow, one will be 2. Oh, all right. I do have quite a variety here. So I guess it doesn't matter what that one is. I just need to measure the next one. So let's see where you go. So these sizes, I'm not sure. I do not like to waste. I'll see about that, but certainly to create the book, I realize that you can't necessarily, for me at least, I can't necessarily use 100% of my offcuts. But I really do try my best to make sure there's a minimum of waste. All right, so you are, all right, you're good. Let's take that off. And then let's measure this. So I just simply marry them up, hold it there. There we go, and we've got our tip out. Tip out, flip out, whatever you call it. I tend to call it a tip out, but it's because I've got a, we have a little camping trailer and it's got a tip, they call it a tip out. It's when you're part of your trailer, you flip a button, or the old ones you used to have to crank, and it just slides out and it gives you more floor space. So our little kitchenette slides out, and then we've got tons of floor space in our little trailer. It's 19 feet, but it's got everything we need. Queen size bed, full bathroom, even a little tub. I think the tub would be handy if you've got children, little ones that are covered in sand. And, you want to get the sand off them before they go to bed, sort of thing. But for an adult, the bathtub is really not... the shower's great, but the bathtub... I think it would be comical to get a picture of an adult trying to sit in our tub. So this is one of those exciting parts of creating junk journals. The paper part is a little bit snoozyville, but it's necessary before you can get to the fun stuff. Wow, hubby's home today. And we went and got groceries. Oh my goodness, are the shelves bare. So, in the store. We were fine. The things that we wanted were there, and I stocked up on a few things just in case. And we were getting differing answers from the differing people that we spoke to. Like, we spoke to a stock person and just said, how come these shelves are really empty? And he said it's because the warehouses, the trucks, no, it's not. I was thinking it was the truckers. And he said that it was low warehouse staff, and not being able to load the trucks because of people off ill. So that can go in. That's big enough to be a little page. What are we at? We're at number 6. So we certainly have enough of what we need. There didn't seem to be the people clamoring for the toilet paper again, like 2 years ago. Boy, that was something. The toilet paper debacle. Okay. So you might wonder why I take a little bit off one side and then a bit more off the other side. And it's mostly because if I have to have both sides, I would prefer to have both sides similar in their tea dyeing. So you know how the edge gets a little bit darker when it's tea dyed? I would rather have 2 fresh cut edges and deal with it so that they match than to just use this as one edge and then use the other. Plus, by cutting a fresh edge against that fold, again, as I mentioned, it ensures I've got a right angle, and that raw edge is not necessarily a right angle because wet paper stretches and I've said it before, don't trust that your rectangular shaped paper that you've tea dyed and dried will be perfectly rectangular again once it's dry. Most likely it will not. So we got what we needed. We are at 7. I'm hoping, because this is bigger, to have fun with some of the pages that can go in. Like I have a few large music books, so I would like to do a page with a large music book. The last journal I created, Juliet, had no ledger paper in it whatsoever. So, and I love ledger paper. So this one, definitely I'm going to have to put some ledger paper in. Oh, boy, that worked out well. Let's fold you in half. I have to get back into my habit of tea dyeing 10 pages a day. Remember I mentioned that I was in the habit of leaving just enough tea left over in my morning pot of tea and tea dyeing 10 pages a day, which is simple for me to do indoors because I can put it on a rack, put it on the floor in front of, I have one of my heat vents, the furnace vent, it's angled so that the hot air blows out across the floor rather than straight up. And it's just the perfect place to just dry a little batch of papers. But Christmas came and went, and because of Christmas, I got out of the habit of doing my 10 pages a day, and I need to get back into it because I'm going to, probably by March or April, I'm going to start feeling it. Oh! I changed the alarm. Okay. All right. There we go. Thank you. That was very pleasant. I enjoyed that. JC Joy of Man's Desiring. That was very pleasant. I didn't feel the least bit irritated by that. That's very calming. It makes me crave a cup of herbal tea. Canon and D and JC both make me crave herbal tea. I think every single herbal tea manufacturer uses those music pieces to play in the background on their commercials. There we go. And there's our last, there's signature number 9. Now, because I don't really enjoy the colors of these, hold on, let me grab it. I don't really enjoy these. But I think there's just about illustrations on every single page. I'm going to go through and look and see if I can find some pages that just have like this. Because they would be good for putting pockets on, collaging on, leaving them blank for the new owner. We'll see. I'm going to see if I can find some that I don't hate. How's that? And if not, I'm not sure how many of these pages I will be putting back into this book. We have other ways of making a book pretty. Okay, so 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So they seem kind of wrinkly and rough right now, but certainly when I get all my pages chosen, they'll go into my book press. Now, quite often, and I bet if I don't mention it now, it would get asked in the comments below, how many pages do you put in your signature? How many pages per signature? It varies every time because papers are a different weight. So tea-dyed paper is sort of bulkier and a little bit heavier because the paper has expanded and shrunk back down and never shrinks right back to the original size. Plus, maybe I'm using some tissue paper in there. Maybe I'm using some cardstock in there, some pages out of old books. They're all different weights. So it's one of those things where I sort of start out with the intention of having the same number of folios in each signature, perhaps 4 or 5, let's say. But then I will start looking from the top down and squeezing and seeing whether they look balanced width-wise. And I'm not averse to, if I've got thin papers in one signature, having, say, 7 folios in one, whereas perhaps the center one, you know me, I always love putting like a guest book folio in. Well, they're usually very heavy and thick and bulky and take up space, or else these ones that have a tip out, they take up more space. So it really is one of those things that I start by trying to keep them balanced, but then I will juggle them around until I can tell just by pinching and visually and how they feel, whether they're all approximately about a similar size, so that when they're sewn in, you have a nice balance in how your signatures look in your text block. So there we go. That's it. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Here, let's come down a little closer and you can take a look. There it is. Very pretty. Have a great rest of your day. I'm going to try and do the same, and hopefully maybe the weather will go straight out over the lake and bypass our little town. That would be nice. Take care. Bye.